changing and it ain't the way I like. On the replay, wish I could get a replay. Don't mean to hold ya, but I wanna do over. Gas up the ship, shoot me a text and let me know when it is time. I wanna get off, I wanna get off. 1 star, would not recommend that we go far from here. I wanna get off, I wanna get off. A music podcast for the culture. Wild Thoughts.
What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Wild Thoughts. We got a whole lot to talk about today, this evening. So we're gonna hop right into it because we got our East Coast brethren. Mars Cena gonna turn into a pumpkin in about 15-20 minutes. So Mars, since you gotta go first, what topic you want to hit on first? What topic you want to hit on? We'll start with that.
That this White House is a joke.
I feel like that's a topic every damn week.
Like, do you realize this is just a bad reality show?
Listen, it's like Veep, but like unbelievable. Like if they would have did this on Veep, we'd have been like, all right, y'all jumped the shark this season.
This is ridiculous.
But this is life.
It's like you every week they top the bullshit from the previous week. How?
But you know what the coldest thing about it is? Ain't nothing gonna happen to them. Ain't no accountability. Ain't nothing going. You know what I'm saying? They not gonna have to be held accountable for nothing they doing.
Nope, the broom's already out. They sweeping this shit under the rug.
The fact that they blaming the journalists for being in there. They're like, he knew he wasn't supposed to be in there. Wait, what?
Yeah.
That's where we are, dog.
But like, here's the other thing that no one is talking about is the fact that it is now out in the open that you had an attack on a foreign country. That foreign country is probably sitting there like, oh, word?
On a group chat. On a group, like a literal, they planned a war strike over a literal group chat and accidentally added a journalist. That's like some movie shit, dog.
Yeah, that's bad. That's all around bad.
Like if I would have wrote this in the script, V-Ray, you would have been like, no, that's a little too obvious to have the journalist added to the group. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like a bad movie plot.
Yeah, you're like, that's a bad movie plot. Like, how you just who's gonna accidentally from the cabinet of the United States, the cabinet of the president, who's gonna accidentally add a journalist? Now we can't write that into the script. Like that's how bad it is.
Yeah.
But the funny thing about it is 12 hours before, this motherfucker was talking about how things were so suspect in the previous administration. It was all messed up. You know, there was no secrecy. It was like shit was just flying off the wall. 12 hours later.
Yep.
But the fact that they trying to sweep it under the rug, like now they're trying to say, oh, it wasn't unclassified on there. Or Marco Rubio was like, I came on and just said, I'm here. And then I turned it over to my chief of staff. Like, yo, the way they throw each other under the bus, the explanations are terrible because they're like, this dude is known for hoaxes. Okay, cool. Let's say he is. Let's say the reporter is known for hoaxes and bad reporting. Is this a hoax?
Right. But then
was he not in the group chat?
Right. But then you insult the motherfucker to the point he's like, oh, for real? Let me just release shit to the public. Y'all see
that's what I thought was a cold move. Since everything is so fake that I say and shit.
And then Pete Buttigieg, I don't know if y'all saw Pete Buttigieg said you almost have to go out of your way to move something from a secure server to an unsecure server. He was like, they got what they call them air gap laptops, and you got to do all these different protocols to even get on. He said, so in order for them to do this group chat, they had to actually go out of their way to do a group chat. And he said, this is something that they like when you going into the White House, this is something that they grill you like. And I'm like, boy, where all them Hillary Clinton email people at?
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. It's quiet as church.
All
Just
them
like the gun people when it's a black person that gets caught up with a gun crime.
And it's crazy to hear the follow-up excuses of just like, well, it was just a simple mistake. Where is this a simple mistake? There's nothing simple mistake about it. And what's the dude's name who used to be on ESPN, who's now Fox News?
Will Kane.
Will Kane.
Will Kane. Will Kane is like, well, hey, at least the American now knows the idea. He's trying to sum it up. At least we know the idea, and it's important for the American people to see how we think and how we attack and the ideology behind attacking foreign countries. Shut the F up.
Yeah.
Man.
So much spin.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
But somebody made a point. One of the I guess one of the former security committee people that they bypassed anything where, because of the Records Act, they used the texting to collaborate on shit that they don't want to go into the historical record and shit like that. So with those being those end-to-end encryption applications, and they delete the text shortly thereafter they've been sent, then there's no record. Like the White House calls and White House visits and shit like that, where everybody knows what's what, and like the president calling another foreign dignitary, and they record the call, and they have a transcript of it and shit like that.
Yeah,
they are going outside of the protocol to be able to avoid that shit in some cases.
Mm-hmm.
Let's read this comment from Ron. Ron said, "What's worse is I heard they added them, which announces to each member the ad. Then he left the group, and it was announced to everyone. Someone left, but no one asked who was that." If they were discussing where to eat lunch, cool, but attack plans is actually against the law. It really is. Stephanie said, I just watched a video where Representative Pearson went off on the representative from Louisiana, Andrew somebody. Yeah, the Democrats is going on, but like I said, ain't nothing going. Like, this is the thing, ain't nothing gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
ain't nobody gonna be punched. They probably ain't even gonna fire Hegseth.
No,
they won't, because Trump appointed him, and this close after the appointment, he looked stupid, supposedly getting the best and the brightest and shit, and then within 60 days, 70 days, old boy puts his own foot up his own ass.
And did you see Tulsi Gabbard answering questions? Like, they're like, were you on your personal cell phone? And she like, I cannot answer that. They're like, what? You can't answer if you was on your personal cell phone? Like,
because you know the answer. If you can't answer,
if you don't say
answered.
no, you was on your personal cell phone.
I was on my daughter's phone because mine was charging. Yeah, if you can't answer, you've already answered.
Exactly, Vernon. Trump appointed him, and he'll be damned if he admit he wrong. That's the crazy, because Trump was like, we all know that this man works for a magazine that's no good.
Yeah.
It's no good. It's like a graveyard there. No one even watches it.
Hey, you've been working on your impression, I see. Okay.
I said, this is like watching you know how everybody got that uncle with dementia who be saying wild shit on Thanksgiving, so they put him in the living room till it's time to eat? That's who's running the country right now.
We're a joke. We're literally a joke.
This has to be the worst 100 days ever, and we're still only 60 days in, if that, right?
No, look, she tried to say he wants Canada to be the 51st state. Like, think about how outlandish this sounds. He wants Canada to be the 51st state. Gulf of Mexico is now Gulf of America.
Don't forget Greenland.
He wants Greenland because he said we need it. We have to have it. And then he said he got started beef with Mexico. You start beef with Mexico and Canada. Mm-hmm. And then he don't understand what tariffs mean, so he just like throwing tariffs on everybody.
Oh yeah, he put another 25% tariffs on automobiles.
Yeah, that starts April 2nd. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you get in the car after April 2nd,
Panama.
Yeah, talking about invading Panama. He did invade Yemen. They planned it on a group chat. Think about all of this has happened in the first 100 days, and like that's not even the craziest of all of it. The craziest is this nigga did a Cal Worthington and his dog spot commercial at the White House for Tesla in front of the White House.
Yeah. Yeah. And you saw the close up of the notes he had about the features of the car and shit.
Yeah,
like
it's such a good car. It's the best. It's so good. The car's so good. There's never been a car like Tesla.
Yeah.
He said they want natural resources in Greenland like every other location. Yeah, they do. But the funny thing is, like, it's like he's literally saying everything out loud. Like, there's no strategy.
No.
There's
Right.
no like sneak attack. There's no
no game to it at all. No charming, trying to charm the Greenland leaders and like, what I'm saying, foster a friendship and nothing. Just like we'll be over Thursday. We're gonna set up.
I
shop
want your
and shit.
dirt. We need it now. That's it, buddy.
Yeah. and the negotiations and shit that are going on with Ukraine, inserting himself into the Ukraine and Russia thing, flipping the script and turning his back on the American ally in the process and rebranding him as the bad guy and all this shit. The ceasefire that they declare and then Russia attacks motherfuckers the same night or some shit.
Which is what, if you remember, Vern, remember when they was talking shit to him at the White House? That's why they was talking stuff, because he asked about that. He said, okay, if we do this treaty, how are y'all gonna help ensure that Putin sticks to it? Because he never sticks to it.
Exactly.
And that's when they start going off.
Yeah.
So the exact thing he was talking about, and the allies was, our supposed ally was talking about, is what they started embarrassing him for. You didn't even say thank you. Like the weirdest. That's what I'm saying. This has been the weirdest. Like, this is like a Black Mirror episode.
It's worse.
And internationally, a whole other aspect, we're fucking losing our minds at how ridiculous this shit is within the United States. But internationally, this shit's got to look like a fucking clown car as administration right now. You know what I mean? For everybody that respected the United States and was formerly an ally, I mean, already you can see the European nations are circling the wagons and like figured out a way to be independent and distance themselves from the United States and shit like that. But when shit like this happens, war secrets and fucking text messages and they talk about invading fucking Panama and shit, like all this shit, like this motherfucker is like, no matter how bad you thought it was gonna be before he took office, it's fucking worse than all of that shit that you could anticipate.
And then also adding too that he ran his whole campaign off the left trying to take away free speech, and then he immediately got into office and then tried to take away and is trying to take away free speech. If you protest, it should be illegal to protest. It should be illegal to speak against the country. Deported one of the Muslim dudes because he protested. Like,
right, and that Muslim dude is not, the dude has a green card.
Yeah,
he should have like they breaking all the rules. And also they said they're trying to sue NBC and they're trying to sue NBC and NPR, calling them terrorists because they reported on him having felonies.
Most recently, also him talking about compensating the Capitol Hill.
The January.
No, don't say compensating. He said they need reparations.
Reparations, bruh.
Reparations for the January 6ers. That's what he said.
And did you see this shit where I guess it was ICE or TSA? I guess it was ICE though. Was going through people's phones when they're like coming through customs and shit to come into the country. They take motherfuckers' phones and look at their messages and posts and shit. And if they say something bad about Trump, like somebody's phone, they found some posts where the dude was talking about Trump, and they wouldn't let the motherfucker in the country and shit.
Jesus.
Just somebody traveling. Like,
that's crazy. That's
right.
where we are. That's what y'all voted for, America.
Take your phone, make you unlock the shit.
This is what you want, America.
Like, this shit is like, this is Putin's playbook, like a motherfucker, man. That's what they say, that the way Putin came into office and the moves that he made to start establishing himself as a dictator. I mean, Russia was never a democracy, but you know what I'm saying? They're saying he's doing the same moves. Fucking up the reputation of the press and the elections, the police, or anybody that can do research or counter whatever the messaging is that's going on, all that shit. It's just like these are his idols anyway, Kim Jong-un and all these motherfuckers. So
Yeah.
it's not surprising.
This nigga's stupid.
So
Like
Ron
this-
said, now I won't lie. One thing I do agree is why do we always have to provide the first wave of protection? I believe other allies should be responsible. Oh, I'm sorry. I should be responsible for sending troops to help those in need. I just don't agree with how he's going about it. Listening to EPR, I heard he mentioned them paying their fair share to protect the allies with less assets. Well, I think the problem is, Ron, you can't market yourself as a superpower and then want to be the third line of defense, right? Like if America's supposed to be this superpower and all that, you know. Shannon said JD Vance is going to poison Elon Musk so he can get his vice presidency back.
JD Vance is sponsored by Elon Musk and old boy from the Silicon Valley and shit.
No, but you didn't hear Elon Musk JD Vance had leaked audio of him talking about how Elon is messing everything up and he's not the important one. I'm the important one.
Well, that may be, and they also had that shit in the chat where he was talking about Trump needs to think through the decision to even bomb
Yemen.
that bomb run that they was doing. So I mean, there's shit that said behind the scenes, but they sponsored, they funded old boy's campaign to get into government and shit, and then, well, that's what I read anyway, is that they pressured Trump to make JD Vance his running mate.
Yeah, like.
Well, anyway,
it's all everything. It's like everybody's turning on everybody. Everybody's turning on themselves.
Yeah, it's not quite working out the way it was written in 2020 in Project 2025. Some of it is, but yeah.
Well, the problem is you got Elon Musk who's not on he's not on the same timing as them in regards to the Project 2025 stuff. That's not what he owns. What he owns is dismantling what he can do to get control.
Yeah,
he's trying to privatize everything that he doesn't like about the government. And while he's trying to privatize it, he's trying to make it where he is in charge of it.
Right.
That's not what Project 2025 was supposed to be. It was supposed to be folding a bunch of stuff into it to where the president basically runs all the federal pieces that are left.
Mm-hmm.
Ron said, yeah, they got his ass on tape. He also said Trump doesn't understand what the consequences are for bombing Yemen, which shows he knows he's an idiot. Shannon said this house of cards is going to collapse and take America with it. Yeah, so I was talking to somebody yesterday. And they said if we just sit back and let this happen, how do we recover? I was like, I don't know.
I'm gonna write your motherfucking cable carrier, your internet carrier, fucking mean letter and shit, nigga.
It's not me this time. It's not me this time. I'm good.
There's no audio. Can y'all hear him?
Yeah.
I can't. I see you talking, but I can't.
Yeah, it's you this time. We good.
Let me go out and come back in, bro.
Yeah, we good this time. But yeah, like I was saying, like they like how we gonna recover after this? And I'm like, I don't know. But this is what y'all asked for. Y'all didn't want the woman in the White House. Y'all didn't want, and of course, listen, I know the Democrats have plenty of blame, plenty of issues. We'll talk about their asses too, because they're terrible.
Yeah.
They have a 29 approval rating. This is the lowest approval they have ever had. There you go. This has been the lowest approval rating of the Democrats ever. Not since anything, 29%. So even if the White House continue to mess up, I'm not even confident Democrats will get voted back in to the House, Congress, and the White House next time because their approval is so low with their own people.
Well, with the oligarchy tour that Bernie and AOC is on, I think they're showing them what needs to be done and how they're addressing the crowds and speaking to the crowds is resonating. So,
well, let me ask you this, Mars. I agree with you, but let me ask you this. Do you think, and I heard this from a couple of other sources and a couple other places, that what AOC and Bernie is doing is basically they are going to start the Tea Party of the left, like a different faction of the Democrats that's not quite the Biden Democrats. Like they basically like we not the Biden and Pelosi Democrats. We actually really progressive. because I think Schumer, Pelosi, Maxine Waters, I think they cooked.
Yeah. Like I wouldn't be surprised if Schumer decides to step down.
He needs to. But that
Like
whole
I
old guard,
can't.
they out of touch. They
Yeah.
they even messed up how they ran that campaign with Kamala. Like they gotta go. And I think if you are going to try to get that 18 to 25 demographic, you have to elevate people like AOC. You have to elevate
Mhm.
people like Jasmine Crockett. You have
Yeah.
to start elevating voices that actually can speak to the younger people. And I don't think that's what the Democratic Party wants to do. And I don't think that's what they are doing. So I think AOC is basically like, we'll be Democrats, but we're gonna be Democrats over here, and we're gonna be like a little side party. Like, you know what I mean? Like how I said, how they started. If people don't know, y'all, the Republican Party had a little small faction that broke off, and they called themselves the Tea Party, and the Tea Party actually ended up being MAGA. Like Tea Party is now MAGA, just to explain to you what the Tea Party turned into. So that's what I'm asking you guys. Do you think that's kind of what it looks like might be happening with Bernie and AOC? Because they basically breaking away from everybody, and the things that the Democrats usually wouldn't say about each other out loud, like, oh, I don't agree with that shit, they doing that. So
Mhm.
what y'all think?
I agree with you. There's also others that are starting to follow that narrative that have been outspoken. I keep talking about Richie Torres from the Bronx, but he is now starting to gain more traction where people are now paying attention to him. I haven't started looking in the Midwest and the other areas, but it's happening organically. And the way in which they're doing it is that they're speaking directly to needs that everyone can relate to.
Yeah. So what you think, Sam?
I really don't know. I'm kind of like in this phase of like just kind of watching America play this out because I feel
Mhm.
like besides the fact that this country is racist, right? And then there's parts of it that's misogynistic or whatever else. I also feel like we didn't get enough votes during the Kamala campaign because the lack of votes came from a trauma response, right? Where people just did not know how to vote. And so now the country is disappointed in the Dems, but we're also watching in our very own episode, right? America episode. I don't know whatever episode we're on in America right now, but
It's a
we're
series for
watching
them,
this
Jack.
country. Right, we're watching this country turn their shit, and I'm interested in watching what's going to be the response of the American people. Right, is the way that we've ran government politics, like, is it going to still be the same? Like, is this what it takes for us to finally start getting to a point where, not to say that our government, is dismantled, but just in the way in which we operate. Like, I'm just curious in watching how all of this is gonna kind of play out. But I do agree that we do have to, if the Dems are going to make a move, they do have to separate and depart from what used to be. There's a reason. There's a reason why Putin invested so much money, some time back when he was investing in Facebook and social media. And there's a reason why Elon, right, why he invested $1 billion in Twitter, because he understood the control of a certain type of media. And I think we need those type of level setting Democrats that are really like more conscious of the future and how to actually get a hold of things and ahead of information. We'll see though, man. I really just don't know. I'm sitting back, man. At this point, I'm like, what does Portugal look like? Wait, I'm going to Belize. Like Ron be trying to get me to go to Belize. I'm like, man, Belize sound good right now. I really don't know, man.
I got an email from a therapist yesterday. I guess she had went over there to do something, and she was like, "Yeah, basically, we not coming back." She sent the email to everybody, like to all my family, friends, and clients. She like, "We came over here to London to do something, and we not coming back." Like watching what's going on in the in the country right now. We gonna be out here indefinitely. I said that's crazy, but what's crazier is her decision doesn't feel like off kilter at this point because of what's going on, right? Michael said he's not the president, he's a dictator who looks out for his kind. I'm talking about Trump. You're right, Michael, and it's crazy that middle class and under middle class people actually thought he was going to be the guy to look out for them. I don't understand why y'all thought a rich billionaire who been rich his entire life was ever going to connect with y'all to look out for y'all. That was the most baffling thing to me about not just black Trump supporters, any poor Trump supporter who's not rich.
Mhm.
Any Trump supporter who's not, like Dave Chappelle said, like, oh, y'all think he for y'all? He for me. I'm rich. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he played on people's, well, like I said, it's so much to get into. There's so many layers to it. But he played on a lot of people's emotions, man. He played on a lot of, homophobia with the LGBTQ and trans stuff. But I also blame that on the Democrats because they listen. I know the LGBTQ and trans. I know they need to be protected, and they are like a unprotected class. But y'all put so much effort into them, and that was not a big enough voting block to get you over the finish line.
No.
That, like, I'm talking strategically.
Right.
If y'all want to come for me, I don't care. But I'm talking strategically. Y'all went so hard for the trans bathrooms and so hard for the trans. Like, I'm like, you united every regular, damn near everyday man that's rural white men, older black men, country black men, city slicker. Like, y'all united all of them against the Democrats with just that alone. We're going so hard. Look, we all know so hard. You got so many people like, man, the Democrats, they doing too much gay shit. How many times I heard a person say that during the election cycle?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't put the resources where they need to put it. Like, y'all putting all these resources in y'all commercials into the LGBTQ. You should have been putting your resources into talking to the younger black men. You should have been putting your resources into talking to those younger Hispanic men and women. You should have been putting your resources in talking to all the college kids, especially college educated white kids, because you're more likely to get them than those rural white voters y'all been trying to get back. Them rural white voters is never coming back. You know what I mean? But you might be able to get those 18 to 25 white kids who feel like they're woke, who feel like they're allies for black folks. Like, that's who you need to go after. And they didn't put the resources into those places and spaces. So I think, to me, like how you said, Mars, those are the people who sat at home. Those are the people who stayed home.
Yep.
Because if you go by the numbers, Joe Biden had 80 million when he won, and Trump had 75 million. And this time Trump has 77 million and Kamala has 75. So 5 million Democrats just didn't vote. 5 million Democrats that voted for Biden won just didn't vote. And then on top of that 5 million, I think, like, you ain't gonna tell me y'all couldn't have put in to find 3 million votes out of all of those different demographics. I think y'all just had the wrong message for certain demographics, and you drove some people away. Because I know, like, a lot of the black Trump supporter dudes was just on some, oh, they going too far with this gay shit, saying my kid can be trans without telling me, they can give him like all that stuff.
Right.
That's what they leaned into. And now here we are. Let me read these comments. Ron said, those with the means should have a backup plan that doesn't include America. I prefer Belize due to the ability to be close enough to visit family, often but far enough to get away and even further place if necessary. They were manipulated to believe his lies, his fake assassination attempt, and all the bull he put out there to win their vote. Now, like us, they have felt it too as the world turns. James Cofield said, all that sounds good. They wasn't voting for a black woman, period. We can't go with that, James, because 75 million did. Like, 75 million did, and he only got 77. So it's not like, to me, that's like when I watch certain basketball games and I see like a team was up almost the whole game and they lose in the fourth quarter. I'll be like, that's not the talent on the court, that's coaching.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they already showed you they could win because they've been up on this team the whole time. But at the end, the coaching strategy couldn't get them over the top. Because at the end, it's coach versus coach and strategy, because the talent kind of goes out the window. They cancel each other out at the end of games. You know what I mean? January 6th should have been enough. Well, we know ain't no way you could punish whiteness, Mr. Cofield.
Right.
We don't punish whiteness in America. You know that.
Yeah.
This past election also showed too that the right can be as extreme as they need to be. It can still win. But when you, like you mentioned, when the left goes too far left, right, then that's when they lose people. And I think that's what happened too, is that the left, as you mentioned, right, they didn't focus on certain key elements, right? They didn't really focus on, and even Kamala, right, like didn't really prepare herself to answer real in-depth questions about the current economy, how it got that way, and then her plans to change it. And so rather than, like I said, rather than really focusing on kind of like the middle class left, they were focusing on all the left, and like you said, the gay agenda. And it's like people were concerned, like, look, hey, enough with that gay shit. Like, how I'm gonna pay for eggs, like,
Well, it was
you
that
know, and
it was the gay agenda, and also remember they kept trotting out them Republicans like we gave a damn. Got Liz Cheney and all the Republicans trying to win those moderates that was
yeah,
never coming back. Like, damn
right,
the moderates, you got to get the real progressives. You know
right.
what I'm saying? Like, and I think that that's another place where they messed up. And also, I think they did not let Kamala break away from Biden enough to separate herself. They kept trying to tie her to all of his policies, where she should have broke away with him on Gaza. That would have got her some more votes. She should have broke away with him on the economy, because he was like, the economy's great. And like you said, people like, nigga, eggs is $8. It ain't great. So she should have been able to break away with him. And this is where I feel like the old school Democrats that's running things, this is why I feel like there need to be a break. Because that's what I was talking about earlier, Sam, when I said in her campaign, there were things she should have broke away from Biden on to separate herself as a candidate and to really make it be like, this is my policy. Like, as the vice president, like I would have liked for her to say, as vice president, it is my job to push and support the policies of the president. But as the president, these are my specific policies that I would A, B, C, and D. And she didn't do that.
No.
And so she was still bogged down and tied down by being connected to the failed. Like, what she should have did, like Trump does, you take credit for all the good shit you did with Biden, and you blame Biden for all the bad shit because he retiring anyway, and like he got to run again.
Yeah.
So y'all should have been like, we got to throw you under the bus, B, but this is what we got to do to win.
Well, the thing about it was, like, to me, I was throwing him under the bus because you should have made that decision not to run for re-election earlier. Because at the end of the day, she didn't really have time to prepare.
But I think even in the time to prepare, like I said, I think where she lost and where she got hurt was still sticking too close. Because if you already felt like you didn't like Biden's presidency, her saying I'm going to do more of the same, she lost votes.
Right. But then yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. She did not distinguish herself, and at the same time, she was not speaking direct. Her ego got the best of her as well.
How so?
Because, like, some of the things, like, she didn't really come across as relatable. You know, it's like all the stuff in which she was doing is like, you know, the only thing that comes to mind is the Joe Rogan stuff, where it was like everything was rehearsed. Just like, fuck the script, just talk to what is going on, like, relate to people, speak what is going on. Like, yeah, treat us like idiots and just dumb shit down.
Well, also, I think they took too long to let her loose. Because by the time
she never got loose.
I disagree. I watched that Breakfast Club, the interview with her and Charlamagne. I felt like that was the most relatable and the realest I had ever seen her. And I felt like her on the Call Me Daddy podcast. There was a couple of podcasts she did, but they fell into the trap of everybody saying, you got to do legacy media, you got to do CNN. And like, why did y'all fall for that shit? Trump wasn't doing no legacy media. But they again, the Democrats, she got to do legacy media, because even the Democrats was getting up there on CNN saying, oh, well, she needs to do a real interview with a real journalist. Meanwhile, Trump is out there with, what's that white boy who got not Joe Rogan, the other one, like the stoner white boy who used to be on The Real World. He's on his podcast. Like, the Democrats, I felt like they continue to play by a playbook that nobody's playing by no more.
Oh, agreed.
I feel like they continue to be like on some, we got to have decorum and we got to do things a certain way, when like Trump is over there pulling up to a podcast with a American flag Trump covered Tesla. You know what I mean? Like he was just sensationalizing things the right way. Ron said, I believe we have to come to grips with the fact America would not elect a woman, let alone a black woman. Condoleezza Rice type, maybe, but a liberal woman who was pro everything won't cut it. America is more sexist and racist, so we must have this understanding when running for office next round.
I don't know if I would agree with that, man.
I do agree with
that was
that.
too close to be true. You know what I mean? She had damn near the votes, but like you said, I think her pace kind of got fucked up. I think she got in it. Biden got out of the way. It was It was messed up timing, but I think there was still enough time for her to salvage a win because she got into it with momentum. You know, she wasn't starting from a standstill. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And actually, people were relieved when Biden got out of the way, so she wouldn't have got just 2 million less votes if America wasn't ready for a woman and all that shit like that. I think the way they moved was cool out the box, right? But as it got closer to election day, they started having some misfires and shit.
Well, I started feeling like they was playing prevent. They started playing prevent defense.
Yeah.
Towards the end of her run, like trying to keep her away and trying to hide. I'm like, bro, let her loose. Y'all gotta let her loose, but like you said, V-Ray, I don't think she would have had 75 million votes if it was like. I think she lost a lot of that 5 million because of sexism and racism. Don't get me wrong. Like that 5 million that stayed home, I think she lost a lot. But again, I think there was other places she could have found it, because think about the amount of votes she lost because she wouldn't break with Biden on Gaza and talk about the ceasefire. That was like a lot of that swing states with the Muslims that she needed in Michigan. She lost a bunch of them with that. You know what I mean? Like there's little things that could have been done to get the people she needed in some of those swing states, but I think they just I feel like they put the resources into the wrong places and in the wrong spaces, man. And while we talking about what a joke everything is, bless you. Hey, my sinus has been going crazy today. But anyway, you too, Sam. I'm like, I want to scratch my face off.
That was
anyway,
yesterday.
Cofield, to your point, you said swing states couldn't be won with the voters mentally, with the voters' mentality. Apparently, she did the right things. If you say she got all those votes, we can't run away from the issue of race. I agree, James. So that's what I'm saying. Like, out of that 5 million, I feel like we probably lost half to racism and sexism. So let's say she lost 2.5 million votes to racism and sexism. There's another 2.5 million votes she should have been able to get from 18 to 25 from the educated college kids. Like, you know what I mean? Like there were demographics that they weren't reaching out to while they was trying to get those never Trumpers and Republicans. You know, they was trying to get they regular Republicans say they don't like Trump. Yeah, but they don't like your ass either. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so,
go ahead, Sam.
So, because now I'm thinking about like what she could have, would have, and should have, and at this point, it's like, So now I'm thinking about like what the Dems should do. You know, we talked about like, AOC and whomever else, but I'm thinking like the next campaign that we have, whoever is running, we need a type of candidate that is going to pull their whole card. And I'm not, and I think sometimes, we speak in generality, right? Like the left will sometimes speak in generality about the economy or this issue, that issue. No, I think you need to now speak to those specific groups that are currently being harmed. So you need to speak to those specific Muslim groups. You need to speak to those specific steel workers. You need to speak to those specific veterans. Like all of these different people that are currently being impacted, I'm taking notes, goddammit. And so next, when it's time to start running campaign, I'm speaking to all those particular people that could have made it a vote and say, how did that feel knowing that you entrusted someone and literally immediately, not in the course of 4 years, or not in the fact of like things kind of happen. We're talking about someone's immediate decisions making has impacted you, and in a way to where it's like, do you want to do that again? Do you trust them enough to do it again? And this is not a matter of my sex. This is not a matter of the political party that I serve. This is really a matter of like more so, do you trust those people again? And like I said, I'm having those people pulling those whole card. I'm pulling out receipts. This day they said this. That was a lie. They lied to you here. They lied, and I'm talking about. I'm making them. It ain't just politics anymore. Like I'm attacking. I'm in full. I'm on offense.
Well, Sam, I think the spirit of what Bernie and AOC are doing is that they're doing what you're saying. And they're literally making everything relatable to current times, current impacts, current sufferings. And they're doing it in such a way where they are showing them who is responsible for it, but at the same time painting the Democratic Party. If you I forgot how AOC said it, but she was like, when we were in office, this is where things were at.
Well, not only I think that the key part of that, all of that is true, what's been said. But I think when you do bring that approach, you pull that whole card, you do that side by side comparison of that this was then, this is now kind of shit. You got to capsulize or cap that with what's your solution, what's your plan forward, because that's the part that's missing, and all the finger pointing and shit is like, not us, it's them, and not them, it's us kind of shit. But like, okay, you're correct, but what are you gonna do different? Like, how are you gonna? You don't just go in and reverse the executive orders, you know what I'm saying, and just try to get shit back to where it was, kind of thing. Like, what are you going to do to prop up Social Security and give it longevity? And what are you going to do about the job situation? And you know what I'm saying? All these different things that become an issue as these changes trickle down to the voting public. That's the thing that they're going to want to hear. It's what next, what instead.
I think also, I wish Dame was here so I can say what I wanted to say. Oh, here he comes. So we're actually going to have a preview of the impact of the next quote unquote election because of what's going on in Wisconsin, where there is this battle for a Republican Supreme Court member versus a Democrat Supreme Court membership. At the same time, you have Elon Musk, who has put in $20 million on the campaign to get this Republican Supreme Court person elected for Wisconsin.
Yeah, I saw that.
And the folk, I will say that the locals in Wisconsin are coming out in droves. He's
also giving out $100 per signature for people to sign the poll to impeach or go after the sitting judge. So that all is, I mean, clearly illegal kind of shit going on.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? You call it a reward for one thing, but it's basically like some incentive, to influence the vote.
Right. And the only reason why he's doing all that stuff is because he was trying to get whatever case that's against him dropped.
Yeah. Because he's trying to, the thing is, he's trying to pull these like monopoly cases in places. And so he's trying to basically buy everything off. And this is another reason he shouldn't be involved in Doge, and because he's a part of it. Like, who's looking under the hood of the stuff that he's doing? Let me read Ron's. He said federal workers, veterans, and those Americans who are aligned with common issues, inflation, national security, education, should be at the top of the list of common issues. At this point, reparations should be tabled until we can have the numbers and swing votes, but play the games they play by running on common issues, then flip once in office.
Or don't flip once in office. Just do the shit that you say you're gonna do. That's what disappoints motherfuckers and takes their wind out of the party's sails. Is not following through on shit.
Yeah.
Money talks, Ryan, unfortunately, and shit. You know what I'm saying? He could have and plus he can afford it. He put up $249 million, was it, for Trump's campaign? He could have put up a $500 million easily and not felt the pinch of it and have more control than he does now. He probably did, say behind the scenes. He publicly put up 249. So
Ron, how are we allowing a foreigner to control our government with money?
That's what I'm answering.
Yeah.
Because that shit got legs. Money Money talks, bro.
It's bad. And now and everything is for sale. Because now we selling sponsorships at the White House the egg hunt. That's crazy.
That
So
shit is
explain
nuts.
what's going on with that, V-Ray.
Well, what I read was that Trump has announced sponsorships where corporations can buy certain levels of sponsorship, like gold, silver, gold, platinum, blah blah, just like a GoFundMe kind of shit. They ain't saying where the money's going, but sponsors can buy different levels of sponsorship and have their brands displayed in some book or something that they give out at the event. I wouldn't be surprised if they have stickers on the White House like NASCAR and shit when it's all said and done. But that's the premise, is like now you can buy sponsorships for these public these White House events, and it's like you just fucking, it's a yard sale, man, of the democracy's on sale in front of everybody, in front of all the other countries. You know what I'm saying?
And
The
there ain't
world leaders
nobody
got it.
doing nothing about it.
Nope. America is now a damn trailer park.
She said he making the White House a swap meet.
Exactly. Yeah. In front of everybody. Nobody's saying anything. You got a Republican House and Senate. So all the fucking politicians rationalize whatever the fuck he wants to do. He took a shit on the White House lawn. Well, sometimes you just got to dookie wherever you at. You know what I'm saying? It'd be like that. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Nobody's like, yeah, you're right. That shit's out of pocket. Nobody's fucking contested anything this motherfucker says. It's just like, do it and we'll rationalize it later. Just like the text thing. He didn't do that himself. But I'm just saying, they immediately circle the wagons. They do the character assassination thing that they always do. And then they start to excuse it away and say, why are we still talking about this? We really need to talk about the bigger picture for the American people. That shit's so plain. I can fucking predict what they're saying. You know what I'm saying? Why they're saying it. So nobody's going to challenge this dude for nothing. Swap meet? Hell yeah. Politicians probably pulling shit out of their garages right now. What do you think I get for this right here, man?
Oh. Yeah, it's nasty, man. It's nasty work. Real quick, I want to touch on this. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but I just want to get y'all take on it. Malik Yoba says he is no longer identifying as a black man. He is identifying as a non-white man. And he thinks everybody else that's not white, we should all identify as non-white men. What do y'all think about that?
That nigga trolling.
I think he's trying to start another movement, because the last movement he tried to start was like, basically, you still a straight man if you with trans, because they identify as women. That's the last, mission he was on Breakfast Club. So I feel like he on another mission with this. We are
better try to get a hit movie. Quit fucking around. You know what I'm saying? He's supposed to be an actor, nigga. Why you doing all this other shit? Yeah, that seems like a troll move, bro. For real, though. I agree, Rob.
Yeah. I just, because somebody was like, I think I know what he's trying to say. You know how you always get a couple of those. I think I know what he's trying to say, like trying to get us all unified under one umbrella, blah, blah, blah. I said, yeah, but ain't nobody gonna not see you as a black man. Like, I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's like a non-starter, man.
And that's not a requirement to unify either. You ain't got to be like, everybody say you're a Capricorn, and then we'll take over the world. Like, that's not a requirement. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the thing that's been missing, for black unity this whole time, is to identify as non-white.
Kofi said, we as black people have to be honest when it comes to arts, economic, religion, and family. I mean, I think for the most part we are honest, Kofi. I just think when you talk about Democrats and Republicans and who actually speaks to today's black folks, I don't think neither side is doing a great job at speaking to us. I think you got a lot of legacy voters for the Democrats just because they like, ain't no way I'm doing that shit over there. But I don't think they actually happy. I don't think they actually feel like real true progress is being made. Think about how incremental progress for black folks has been under Democrats. It's even less under Republicans.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know what I'm saying? So, but I don't think nobody's really like, oh, we happy with what the Democratic Party is doing. I think we just like, it's a two-party system. It's horrible, and it's either Trump or anybody else. And most people like, I'll vote for anybody else besides Trump.
The lesser two evils.
Yeah, and that's what the conversation becomes. So that's why Cofield, I think what me and Sam and Mars were saying earlier, I think it's time for new voices in the Democratic Party and people who actually want to be really progressive. Because Nancy Pelosi is an old rich white woman. Y'all can't forget that. Chuck Schumer is an old rich Jewish man. Like they ain't in touch with what we want or what we need, and they are probably more leaning towards the Republican side for their pockets and what it means for them to get what they want and need economically.
That part.
But the Jasmine Crockett's of the world, who's still a little broke, you know what I'm saying? She still got enough. She's still in touch enough. AOC, who was a cocktail waitress not too long ago. You know what I mean? Like you need more voices like that probably are still actually a little in touch with the people. Nancy Pelosi she's been rich too long. She's been rich and she's been in control and in power. She's been rich with power for way too long, her and Chuck Schumer. And it's time, like, they got to go. And Maxine Waters. Why Maxine ain't got somebody that she been walking around trying to introduce to us like, this is going to take my place?
She hasn't uplifted anybody that I know of. Not a single person.
You see what I'm saying? Like, and to me, that's a problem. Like, all of them should have had their replacements in tow. Yeah. They should have all been, like, running them. You know what I mean? Like, no, that again, because I hate when people think, like, if you say something wrong about the Democrats, that mean you're a Republican or vice versa. Like, no, I'm looking at this as somebody who think they're both trash, but one is a little less trash because they actually at least will try to pretend to have policy for us, and they have made laws and legislation. Like, you can say they both the same, they're not the exact same. If you talk about legislation and laws and things that has happened to, I mean, think about all the shit that Trump is reversing, all the civil rights stuff and all that. Like, that's a real thing, y'all. Like, him making people basically be able to be segregated again, that's a real thing. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it's not rhetoric. It's actually
it's not rhetoric. It's actually happening. So there is a difference between the two. So I hate when people try to make that equivalent. They just both the same. Two birds, two wings of the same bird. No, they're not exactly the same. There's differences, but the one that's supposed to be better is not being good enough. The side that's supposed to be better, they are just not getting it done. And I think people are fed up with it. Honestly, I think they shit is at 29% right now because people are really fed up. They like, I'd rather stay home than participate at all now.
Yep.
It's that bad.
It's too soft, man. It's like they get their fucking lunch eaten at every fucking turn. And then when Chuck Schumer voted on the fucking budget, the what was it? The debt ceiling shit.
I think that was the end of the line for him.
That was the last straw, bro.
And I think that was the end of the line for him. Cofield, run for a black party. Let's do it. I ain't running for nothing because I'll be cussed everybody out. I'll be on TV.
That's what's needed. You're probably motherfucking be president like a motherfucker. That's what's needed. Somebody who is perceived as speaking, you know, like they say Trump shoots from the hip, which he shoots from the hip with all lies and fucking, you know, banana cream pies and shit. But a motherfucker that actually says some real shit is what's missing. That's the closest thing to that is Jasmine Crockett right now.
Yeah, because she be cussing everybody out.
Yeah, like she just don't give a fuck about your feelings. You know what I'm saying?
Hot Wheels.
When she said, "How will God?" I lost it. And she's standing on business. She like, "Oh well, that ain't what I was talking about." She doing just like Trump. That ain't what I was talking about. I think
that was with intent. I think she did that intentionally.
Yeah,
to call the hypocrisy out.
Should there be a new party? There should, Ken, but like I said earlier, because of the two-party system, we have to find a way to infiltrate the Democrats. Like you have to infiltrate the Democrats to run the kind of candidates you want to run to get what you need done. Because the two-party system is so trash, it's hard for a third-party candidate to really make a big move, like to really make big moves.
Yeah, and you fuck around and undermine the Democratic vote by splitting it if you don't have the full, full weight and landslide.
She said you might get it, especially if you
Now,
get to
if
singing.
you start singing and dancing, I'm gonna kill you myself. Nobody gets to sing and dance, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? I'll be that. I'll go take one for the team and just assassinate your ass. They're like, motherfuckers,
Yeah.
weird fingers and shit. No,
Or Vern, hear me out. Or you could just decide to be one now. I got money on your
where's
budget,
that
brother.
disclaimer, Dame?
Huh?
The views of
Yeah, hold on, hold on.
disclaimer y'all been running with every time I talk and shit.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
here we go. The views expressed are those of tonight's Sam only. The
Exactly.
views expressed.
But I couldn't agree more, Sam. I think there's a pew in the future that is just like Jasmine Crockett. Oh well.
Yeah, but you know what? Like, I don't know, man. I think the reason I wouldn't run personally, and this is like on a serious tip, that's how Clinton got it when Arsenio with his sacks. The reason I wouldn't run is because I've seen from elections that I've either worked on or been close to, there is only a certain height you can get to before you're corrupted.
Yep.
Like where you have to take somebody money, where you have to be beholden to somebody. Like because they like there's levels to it, and if you don't do certain things, you just not.
You have to satisfy certain lobbyists. Like you have,
you
have
or you
to.
just not gonna
You
have
got to play that game.
Yeah, you and I would be like, I don't got enough money, y'all. Like we ran out of money.
I play it like just come in snitching on every motherfucking body, put everybody on blast and shit. So it's like obvious. I mean, seriously, no joke. That is not no corruption angle to the shit. So if a motherfucker's gonna put up money, they better be coming to put it up for the right reason because motherfuckers like taking money. I'll be at the podium talking about that shit. Yeah, if Chuck Schumer, you motherfucking voted for that shit because they had them naked pictures of your ass, so you got that envelope and shit or whatever and shit like that. Motherfuckers like, damn, this motherfucker. So we're gonna have to kill him for real because he's spilling all the secrets on the Hill and shit like that. So it's like if you come out with that shit and like the skeletons in your closet, nigga, here they are. Like, okay, I got a chick pregnant one time, a stripper from Miami and shit, and whoop-de-wop. And there's no leverage that can be established and shit like that. To me, that seems like your integrity is built in. So if there are going to be investors, or maybe there won't be, like you said, if you get to a certain level, but the fact that it's expected that this motherfucker is going to come in and not bow to the NRA and all these other motherfuckers and shit like that, then
like I said, I watched even from a local level how dirty the DNC is. Just on a local level, like I'm like, this is just a local election, and the DNC is putting money in to like put their thumb on the scale to do certain things, to sway certain things, to make sure certain people get in who ain't really what they say they are. Like I've like seen all these things with my own eye, and that's why I was like, I could never run because I wouldn't be able to play the game the way I see them playing it. I wouldn't be able to be party to what they got going on because it's so corrupt.
I'll be naming names like a motherfucker, bro.
I barely even want to move up within my organization because of our relation with actual politicians and watching how disconnected homeless services gets the higher you get up because it's ran by people who have no relation or understanding of homelessness in LA or Southern California, but yet they're the ones that are able to provide the financial means to push a lot of these projects. But it's so horrible. And so I'm just thinking like, man, this is on a small scale. Like this is just me just talking to the mayor, being in the meeting with the county and Department of Health Services in the state. And I just be thinking like, man, like I can't even imagine just on a national level how much more people and things that you have to these meetings, these council district meetings and so forth. It is crazy. And so you're right, Dame. Like campaign lasts 15 minutes.
Yeah. Like I'll give you an example. Before we move on from this, before we get out of here, I'll give you an example. There was somebody running on defunding the police, and they was running on defunding the police and holding police accountable. They had all these flyers out with like, defund the police. I'm the candidate for the people, blah, 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 blah. and everybody was rallying around this person. The DNC was putting bread into this person, and they actually fucking won, which is scary. And then I come to find out, you know who was paying for this nigga's campaign? The police. His biggest funder was the police. And there's a black person, and I'm seeing him shaking hands and all this, and I'm looking like, this shit is crazy. Because he literally running as the anti-police candidate, and it's the police running him to win.
Because they know once they get him in.
I mean, we even saw it with what's the dude who won for sheriff? We saw him.
What was it? Villanueva versus
Luna.
Yeah, Luna.
Let me tell you, the stuff I saw with Luna, and again, like I said, I was able to see straight up what it looks like when people want to put their thumb on the scale in an election. I was able to see straight up how people would say one thing on TV, get off of TV, call Villanueva's campaign manager and say the exact opposite thing they just said on TV. Like, I can't say that shit on TV. What? Like, I feel like I found out there was no Santa Claus like 20 times. Just been around that election. You know what I'm saying? Like, I kept being like it's crazy. And as I said, if this is on a local level, I can't imagine what it's like. Somebody running for Congress, somebody running for, you know what I'm saying? Like, if this was just like a couple local sheriff's elections, some local councilmen, some Department of Education people. Like, if this is what we see in those kind of elections, I can't even imagine what it's like to run for Congress, vice president, attorney general, and all that. Like, the things you have to do, the hoops you have to go through, and the people you have to be beholden to for your campaign to continue. Because they will literally be like, oh, you're not gonna, we will pull all of your funding, we will pull all of your commercials, or we'll drop your commercials to 10%. Like, I'm like, this is insane, dog. Like it's do what I say, how I say, or else that's it. You don't have no bread. You don't have no more advertisement dollars. It sucks, but I'm gonna be honest with y'all. That's why I had stopped talking about politics for a long time. That's why I stopped doing the podcast talking about politics, because I was just like, this shit's so dirty. I can't in good conscience be like, oh, the Democrats are the good guys and the Republicans are bad guys, because I no longer felt that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, when I say I'm an independent, I'm a true independent. I vote like strictly policy. Not even for the person no more. Not for the person, not for personality. Like, literally, I'm voting strictly policy. What does their policy say? I don't care what they did, who they are. What does their policy say? Because we put too much in the not liking people.
Yeah.
Like, black folks, we vote too emotionally. And when we vote emotionally, we always get lost in the sauce voting that way. And I watch black people vote against their own self-interest so many times because they're voting from an emotional space and not from a space of being educated on the actual policies. Like you, Sam, I'm sure you've seen conversations where I'm asking people, what policies are you voting for?
Right.
And they can't answer.
They can't tell you. They don't know what the policy is. They don't have that. There's no So there's one, as you mentioned, right? We vote from an uneducated emotional standpoint, and then we also vote so much on a cultural standpoint, where it's like culturally, this is typically how we vote. So I don't even necessarily even know what the policy is, but culturally, I'm gonna lean this way any damn way and vote that way. And it's like, but what are their policies? What do they stand for? What's at stake here? I don't know, but my mama voted that way, and that's how I'm gonna vote.
That is like the perfect analogy for it. Like, a lot of times, like you said, we are literally voting out of legacy, voting out of culturally. This is what we do. You're gonna get called a coon if you vote Republican, and da da da. So I think the first step is we have to educate ourselves more, and the second step, like V Ray said, you have to start finding like actual you have to find actual candidates that are fearless like that. I know we on West Coast time, so Mars got to get out of here. Mars, you want to say anything before you go? Anything you want to lead the people with before you get out of here?
Good night. Yo, enjoy the rest of the conversation. I'll check in with y'all later.
All right, bet.
Good night, man.
And before we get out of here, last thing we're gonna talk about is LeBron versus Stephen A. Smith. I need all the thoughts because today I feel like LeBron pulled a chess move going on the Pat McAfee show, which airs right after Stephen A. show on the same network, and Pat McAfee is the only one that people would consider maybe close to or an equal to Stephen A. So I think it was all a chess move because, like, I think Pat McAfee the one he either get paid a little more than Stephen A. or you know what I mean. Like, those are the two top dogs at ESPN. And LeBron went on and said his piece. Now look, all truth to the front. To me, both of them niggas be capping a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you got two dudes beefing who cap a lot. So it's hard for me to really take a side when I'm like, y'all both be on bullshit. You know what I mean? It's like when the two crackheads in the hood fight, and you like, man, you know, y'all both be tripping. You know, y'all both be tripping. Give me your thoughts, Sam, on what you feel about the situation. What you feel about? Do you think Stephen A. was out of line for talking about Bronny? Do you think LeBron was out of line for coming at him at the game? And do you think what happened today with them going back and forth? Do you think that was out of line? Let me get y'all thoughts.
So initially, here's the reason why I wasn't upset at Stephen A. until it wasn't until like you and Quincy kind of played a little bit more audio for me, and then I heard one thing where I was like, "That's where you messed up at, Stephen A." But to me, LeBron James first initially messed up when he brought the idea of like, I'm going to play with my son, and whoever wants me needs to also play my son, because now you brought in your fatherhood, you brought in like the personal aspect of that, and so therefore you then kind of gave people the leverage to start talking about your who you are as a father, as well as tied in with the sports. So it was kind of like partially fair game. So when I'm hearing people, you still there? When I'm hearing, you know, certain analysts.
This would give you a close up. This where you know you get the solo.
All right, cool. I just want to I'm like, wait a minute. So you know, when I'm hearing certain analysts talk about it, I'm like, all right, cool, fair game. Now, where Stephen A. messed up was when he was saying, as a father, you need to stop this. Basically, kind of insinuating that as a father, not as the athlete or whatever else, but as a father, you are now messing up. And so, like I said, it was partially fair game, but then it's just like you kind of went too far. And I personally think that LeBron James and Stephen A. should have had more of an in-depth, behind-the-scenes type conversation. However, for the purposes of entertainment, I think for the entertainment purposes, what they're doing is perfect, right? If you're someone who is on a network or you have a social media platform and all this other stuff, they're doing exactly what they need to generate clicks and likes and whatever else. And then, like you said, I think LeBron even was like, okay, let me do another chess move, is because essentially, although Stephen A. is probably slightly ahead of, I think, Pat financially in regards to contract, I'd rather have $45 million contract with no handcuffs than a $50 million contract with handcuffs. And Stephen A. often has to correct what he says or be more political, politicize about what he's saying, who he comments to, who he apologizes to, because ESPN has that restriction on him. Pat McAfee has said it more than a few times, y'all can kiss my ass, and I ain't afraid of you motherfuckers. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like to have that amount of freedom. And so I think like bringing that to Pat McAfee's platform is kind of like low. Like this is who really has power within this network. Because he can take at any given point in time, and ESPN pulls Pat McAfee, he gonna go back to the shit that he was doing, and they're gonna immediately lose viewership. as opposed to people who watch Stephen A. who's sick of your voice any goddamn way. So it's like if ESPN lost Stephen A., would they survive? Easily. Could they survive without Pat McAfee as well? Yes, they can. But it's gonna have, I think, it's gonna be a more implication. So it was a super chess move. And like I said, from an entertainment standpoint, it gives me something to talk about. So I'm just like, let these cap niggas talk. Like you said, it's like watching two crackheads fight. I'm gonna watch this shit. I ain't breaking that shit up. Hey, y'all need to do better. No, apparently, yeah, So I'm gonna let these two crackheads go at it.
What you think, V-Ray? And I know
Well,
I want to get you because you're not like a super huge sports fanatic like that.
No, I'm gonna niggify this shit right quick.
Yeah, from the outside looking in, I want to hear what you think.
No, for real though. I think Stephen A. Smith is just kind of milking the situation and shit, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's kind of like a nigga that Cat Williams talked about that go around everywhere and like, you know what I'm saying, say his piece and shit like that and try to keep the shit relevant and keep it a topic like now, like what's happening right now. And talking about he would have threw hands with LeBron and all this shit. Like, nigga, that's you way outside, coloring outside the line. And you might get your ass whooped because you can see, and from what I saw of the film, Steven looked shook like a motherfucker when LeBron just pivoted and came up and started talking to him and shit. He didn't look like, nigga, what? You know what I'm saying? It was like, nigga, just stop, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna inadvertently take it somewhere like a rap feud going bad.
Yeah, take it where it don't need to go.
Yeah, it's like, dude, just stop. You got your own show. Just do that show. You've been Stephen A. Smith before this happened, and you can continue to be him. But this thing where you're attacking an icon too. This is not just Joe Booty basketball dude. This is like one of the guys at the top of the chain right now. And you fucking with his son. The shit that you're saying is sports related, but you still dealing. You're shitting on dude's sons somewhat, and you challenging dude's decisions as a father and shit like that. The Lakers didn't have to let this nigga do this shit. They could have said, "Nigga, who the fuck are you? We ain't drafting your son or whatever." You know what I'm saying? So you can't just really like go after LeBron only because of the stuff. So I think it's just a lot to do about nothing. You know what I'm saying? At this point, and it could just as easily escalate as it could be squashed. Exactly, Terrell. Like if LeBron would pick that nigga up by his lapels and shit and held him in the air and said, "Just say one more thing about my fucking son," you know what I'm saying? Like, and most fathers would. If somebody's fucking with your child, you know what I'm saying? You gonna check in with him and shit. So I don't think LeBron was out of order, and I think it could be squashed way quicker.
Well, I think I see both sides of the argument, but I also see both sides of both of their bullshit, right? Like, so I know a lot of people say Stephen A. was out of line for bringing into like his fatherhood into the situation, but I also feel like, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong or if you disagree, I feel like LeBron opened himself up to that. By saying shit like my son is already better than half these players in the NBA.
Yep.
When you say shit like that, you automatically target. Like now all the dudes in the NBA, like who he talking about? Who he talking about his son is better than? Because he ain't better than me. Then his son gets to the league. You can't say my son is better than half the dudes in the league, and then your son barely gets drafted by the team you on because you said the only way I'm gonna play for you is if you draft my son. So now all that narrative is cooked in at the beginning of Bronny's career, no matter what. What's cooked in at the start is my dad said I was the best. I was better than half the niggas in the league. And the cold part is Bronny ain't said none of this shit, right? So this is all his pops basically Lonzo balling them, right?
And the Lakers though, because they see the market in
well, hell yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it's not just
him. So these are all the things that are baked in before he plays one game, right? My dad said I was better than half the players in the league. My dad said if you want to keep me and pay, I ain't even about the money. I just want to play with my son. So everything looks like my whole career start narrative was put on by my dad. And then this is where I disagree with Stephen A. when Stephen A said, as a father, you need to stop this because his son got embarrassed in one NBA game. Everybody gets embarrassed when they first get in the league. Like you was acting like he did something egregious by not having a good game. And that's why I think Stephen A took it too far. You didn't have to say that. You could just say, yo, he had a bad game. He not ready yet. Keep him in the G League. But all that, you're a father. There's no reason you should do this to your son. Like all of that, he should have kept that. Because that's where I feel like he kind of went out of bounds. But then, again, when I called Cap on Brian, you wasn't talking to Stephen A because you was mad what he said about your son. You was talking to him because you was mad what he said about you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I will agree, the one thing Stephen A didn't say anything basketball wise that any other person hadn't said. You know what I mean? That any other commentator hadn't really said about his game. When we talking about Bronny's game, he didn't say, he wasn't like, it wasn't nothing new, right? And Stephen A did bring up something funny today. He said, if you look at when LeBron confronted me, he confronted me and he looked right at the camera after. Like he knew exactly what he was doing. And we know LeBron is Mr. King passive aggressive. He's King passive aggressive. Let's read some comments. Shannon said, if it's about nepotism, Stephen A is guilty of the same thing by giving his nephew a job with limited or no qualifications. I don't think his problem is even with nepotism. I don't think nobody's problem with Bronny was about the nepotism. Stephanie, I think the problem coming in is when LeBron was basically shitting on other players to big up his son. He didn't have to do that. He didn't have to say my son better than half these players. You disrespected half the players in the league. He didn't have to do that. One. And then two, everybody knows it's nepotism. Everybody knows you're a Laker because of your dad. She said, I got a question coming from an outsider non-sports fan looking in. If you guys are saying that LeBron brought his fatherhood in when he said that in order for a team to get him, they got to take his son too, why was Stephen A wrong for talking about the fatherhood part? You know what? You right, Stephanie.
Right.
But some shit you don't do, man. I mean, even if it's true, you know what I'm saying? Like if you got a fat wife and you run into Stephen A at fucking hometown buffet, and then they come on TV like, I don't see why V-Ray keep bringing his wife to motherfucking hometown buffet, bitch, big as the house already, you know? So I blame LeBron. You need to like check, you know what I'm saying? Like just cause the shit is true, you don't have to like make that your platform, or you don't have to try to gain fame off of what the fuck, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's kind of cloaking the personal attack in a fucking in a way where you're on your platform where you are gonna say some shit, you know, some controversial shit, but not, you know, some of that stuff you got to think twice about pulling the trigger on this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do agree with you there, V-Ray. Like you said, you don't have to say it, but also the problem is that's Stephen A's capital, right?
Well, if you write that check,
Yeah.
you know, that's all I'm saying is if you're gonna do that shit, then don't be surprised if a motherfucker pull up on your ass and shit, you know, wherever it is.
But I think that's where Dame, like Dame mentioned, though, that this is where you have two of the biggest cap, because one, Stephen A knows ultimately, no matter what happens, LeBron is very legacy conscious. And so he knows he cannot lay a single hand on Stephen A.
Yeah.
Right. And then on the other flip side is LeBron also knows that he's not going to lay a hand. Like this is not going. And so you have two people that are really utilizing this moment for and I mean more so Stephen A than anything, because like he said, he went on tour and he's, you know, telling this whole long story. But it's like, you know, these at this point it's like, all right, can we move along? Because y'all both got
make whooping Stephen A. Smith's ass part of your legacy. You know what I'm saying? You're already
ready for that
at the end of your career, kind of, sort of. You know what I mean? So maybe that time LeBron whooped Stephen A. Smith's ass at the game. Yeah, that's something to talk about. Oh, and he also got 48 points that one night, but he did whoop Stephen A. Smith's ass as well.
Terrell said, I personally feel like the 22 years LeBron's had enough. Yeah, because I think you can tell this has been brewing between the two of them. They haven't liked each other for a while. This ain't about Bronny. Yeah, this is about, I think Bronny was an entryway for LeBron to go say something, because all the other shit, he couldn't say nothing because it was about him as a basketball player person.
But someone made a point about this earlier this week where they were like, well, why hasn't he gone after Skip? Because
Yeah.
Skip was number one.
Still number one. Still number
Yeah.
one LeBron hater.
Yeah.
And Skip actually talks about him to me in a personal hate matter. I don't feel like Stephen A. talked about him in that manner.
No.
Like not with the vitriol. If LeBron offended those players, they should speak up. Now, Stephen, well, the thing is, Shannon, they can speak up because he is the king of the NBA. They are the lower level players. They don't want that smoke.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, one thing Stephen A. did say, Stephen A. said LeBron always wants to get a smoke, but he don't want the smoke back. He always does things where he's in the position where he can't get the smoke back. He knew I couldn't say nothing to him at the game. He knew I couldn't respond right then and there. He said he could have said, "Let's talk after the game," where me and him could have went back and forth. He said, but at the end of a timeout,
I said that I agree with.
Yeah, he at the end of a timeout, in the middle of the game, in the third quarter, not the beginning of the game, not the end of the game. He was like, he knew exactly what he was doing. He knew I wouldn't be able to respond. We wouldn't be able to have a real conversation. So and then he named a couple of other situations where he alluded to, like LeBron always like to get a smoke, but he don't never want to give a person a chance to get a smoke back.
Pull up then. That's what I would say, nigga. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not hiding.
Well, that's what he said too. He said, "Man, they asked me to be on the shop because he's cool with everybody in LeBron camp. So he Maverick asked me to be on the shop. Rich Paul asked me to be in the shop. He said I'll be on the shop only if LeBron there because he said sometimes LeBron don't be there. He said so these are my two conditions: LeBron got to be there and don't edit shit out. And he said after that they stopped talking to me. He said you don't even have to come on my platform. I'll come on your platform." And we could have this talk. And he said I stopped hearing from him. He said that was like 2 years ago. Shannon said, no, when it's up, it's up. LeBron's not the only player that had to check Stephen A. No, I think a lot of players check Stephen A. I think the conversation, Terrell, is not just about him. I think it's about was he right for checking Stephen A in that moment for that particular thing. I think that's the question that people are vacillating on, right? Well, like you said though, Sam. Now, if he thought Stephen A. Smith was on the tour, he just gave him the extension for the European tour with him doing the Pat McAfee interview. Now, like you just gave him another 2 weeks to talk about it on other platforms. Now, you know what I'm saying? But again, I feel LeBron like attention. We know LeBron like attention too. So as much as he acting like he can't stand this, he loving this right now because LeBron's a bit of an attention whore. We know that. And like V-Ray said, these niggas ain't pulling up for real. It's like ain't nobody pulling up for real. Like I'm about to come catch this fade.
Yeah.
Like this ain't like Charles Oakley. If this was Charles Oakley, Stephen A. be in trouble.
It ain't even got to be on TV. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So niggas is accessible. It ain't like if I could just find that nigga.
Also, too, I'm wondering, considering that we know that LeBron is very legacy conscious and he likes to make chess moves, I wonder too, is him now? I mean, we already know he did the podcast and whatnot, but is he going to now start being more involved with the media publicly? And that's like the beginning of his like farewell tour. Like, I'm about to leave this game, and before I leave this game, let me start talking to people and let me start being more friendly, and start being more accepted. Because that's kind of one of the knock on Kobe is Kobe didn't give a damn about the media. Kobe didn't, he didn't interview with y'all. He didn't do a lot of that stuff. And so that carried over into his legacy.
But remember though, towards the end, I think it's more akin to this, Sam. Remember towards the end when Kobe didn't give a damn no more, he started giving all kind of interviews. He even did the sit down with Shaq. He did
I thought that was afterwards though.
No.
Was that was he still playing?
He was still playing.
Okay.
He started sitting in with TNT during the season. You know what I mean? Like I feel like once he got towards the end and after, like we had so much more access to Kobe after he retired. Than we ever had while he was a player. And I think it's that. I think it's LeBron know he's going towards the end and he's like now it's trying to be a little more accessible so I can start saying what I want to say for myself. And I also think that's why he brought up Brian Windhurst. Like I'm about to start speaking for myself because he's been speaking through people for so long, right? I think this is him being because that was like literally, I think that's the most unfiltered interview I've ever heard LeBron do. like, because usually, LeBron's super calculated with what he say and how he say it, and don't want to ruffle no feathers. Today, I think this was the most non-premeditated I've ever seen LeBron. So,
Yeah.
well, shit, man. Thank everybody for joining. This was a great show. Good to have you on, Sam. You got to come back again, brother.
Yeah, bro.
We'll do.
Be busy, but whenever you can, man. We love your input. You know what I'm saying? Right, like we love to have you on, man. V-Ray blaming my internet this time. It was his.
Oh, you know what? My phone, I had to switch from my laptop to my phone because my phone started doing weird shit. So,
Oh,
but
okay.
now it's been stable. Yeah. And then
Yeah,
my
now
camera-
that's what I told you. I mean, talk shit about not for real.
I don't know why Dame keep bringing that Stephen A. Smith your ass and shit.
Right. But tomorrow, y'all, we having our first
yeah.
Wild Bunch karaoke night where you get to play.
Excited.
We do karaoke, but you get to have a
Man.
live band playing behind you. How cool
So
is that?
excited.
You know what I'm saying? Like you get to come live your karaoke dreams, but actually have a live band. So make sure y'all
I'm
come
saying.
through. That's what I'm saying. 3710 Martin Luther King Boulevard, right behind the theater, right behind the Magic Johnson movie theater. Come through, hang with us from 8 to 12 tomorrow night. It's gonna be good music, amazing drinks. We went and bought the alcohol today, and we having like these dope pre-bottled drinks, and I'm telling y'all, they're amazing. So great drinks, great food, and I say this is a recession-proof show because you can get tickets for $10, you can get food for $10, and you get drinks for $10. Tell me where else in LA you can do that.
Ain't.
Tell me where else in LA you can do that, and you're gonna have a great time because
On a Thursday.
we ready to act the fool. LeBron basically verbally unloaded the clip. He really did. Yeah, Sammy, when you ain't out here acting crazy as hell. Can you stream the event? I don't know, Shannon. We might try, but this is the pilot one, so we don't want to stream it because people want to get loose. So I don't want to put their business out there. People want to get loose on the karaoke, so I want them to feel self-conscious. The first go
Live
around.
band too.
Yeah, but hey, if this is successful, y'all, we really want to try to do this once a month. Get a grown people somewhere to go, unwind a little bit right before the weekend. You know what I mean? So we want to do it once a month. So we hope people come out, have some fun. I feel like we're gonna have a nice little turnout. The spot ain't super big, so with 60 people, we could feel like we packed that thing out. You know what I'm saying? So, but I hope y'all come out again. Check on my Facebook page, Wild Bunch Facebook page, if you want to get the link to the tickets. Tickets are $10 in advance, $15 at the door. All right. And yeah, man, we're gonna make this thing happen. It's gonna be a good time. I'm excited. $70 and listen, they strong. Yeah, these $10 drinks is strong, Jack. When I say you only gonna need two, if you want to get right, one is just to have you where I'm gonna get on and I'm gonna sing a song. Two, you're gonna be right for the night.
Wait. Who made it? Is it Nisha or Kelly that made the drinks?
Is Nisha making these?
Either or. Both of them got that heavy hand.
That heavy hand, Jackson.
Yeah.
And the reason I was late to the show today because we just came back from getting all the alcohol. And when I say we bought a lot of alcohol from Costco, everybody who worked in Costco was like, "Ooh, what kind of party y'all throwing?" Just so you know, everybody who looked at the people working there when we was checking out. Then when you go out, you got to give Costco the receipt. They looking, they're like, "Ooh, I want to go to this party." So I'm just letting y'all know it's up.
Be a lot of Costco niggas there tomorrow night.
What y'all about to do? Oh yeah, we about to get drunk and release national secrets.
We about to get drunk and start a group chat.
I'm with it.
But yeah, man, thank y'all for joining. We will see some of y'all tomorrow in person. We'll see some of y'all tomorrow, and then some of y'all we're gonna see you next week here on Wild Thoughts. Thank you for joining. We'll see you in a bit. Later, folks.
Guys.
double doors of life. Things are changing and it ain't the way I like. On the replay, wish I could get a replay. Don't mean to hold ya, but I wanna do over. Gas up the ship, shoot me a text and let me know when it is time. I wanna get off, I wanna get off. One star, would not recommend that we go far from here. I wanna get off, I wanna get off.
A music podcast for the culture.